One time I went to a screening. I had a job that was like hosting a screening. People won free tickets to the most exotic, fabulous Marigold Hotel. You know that movie with like James Judi Dench and like all. It's like an elderly kind of thing with
like
all
British
older people.
Cocoon.
Yeah, like a British Cocoon. And so my job was, it was like, had to give it was a test screening, and I had to like hand out surveys and pick them up at the end or whatever. But you handed out surveys on the way in, you picked up your surveys on the way out. So I had to just like kill time during the movie. And then, so I sat down for one screening of the movie, and there's a part where Dame Judi Dench says, "You know, nothing in my life has gone the way I planned it was ever since I got here. Nothing has gone the way that I had planned." And then I knew that, like, and then it's Maggie Smith, Dame Maggie Smith. I knew what her next line was going to be. She goes, "That's the great thing about life. Sometimes the things you don't plan are the best." And then this woman sitting right next to me just goes, "Yes."
That's right. It's nice when a movie validates
like
failure.
That's her king shark punching someone's head off.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome to INS, the International News Service, your source for the most important weird news from across the globe. With news analyst Kevin Harrison, actor, comedian, and musician Mike Wiebe, and professional commentator Brian Camp. INS, the news you need.
Come like us on International News Service, the podcast that gets the most ass.
Why is that not our tagline?
The podcast that gets the most ass?
Yeah, is that taken?
Let's print some new stickers.
Like royal titles. We can just have like a list of, Lord of the Eastern something, but it can be the podcast that gets the most ass.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a very identifiable group of people that would gravitate towards the message that we're trying to deliver if that was one of the things we claimed about ourselves. And we claimed it because it's true.
Yeah. And I think we need to draw caricatures of ourselves like Tex Avery wolves.
Just like a little bit of drool, but not a lot. Just maybe like
smoke shooting out of our ears,
tapping our feet real fast as we just can't control ourselves because there's a real dame just walked on stage.
Ooh, yeah.
You sound like the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He's dead.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he's dead.
I saw a show about him. He's dead. I'm confirming for you guys that he's dead. I was worried you didn't know.
This is hard for me to. There's a lot to take in.
Oh, you didn't know? Did I just break the news of the Macho Man's demise?
Exclusive.
Yeah.
How did he die?
Choked on a Slim Jim?
I feel like all those wrestlers, WWF guys we grew up with, died pretty young.
Not Jerry the King Lawler or George the Animal Steel.
Mark and I met George the Animal Steel.
What? Where'd y'all meet him?
At a Texas Frightmare weekend.
Was he eating a turnbuckle? That was his bit, right? Didn't he tear open the turnbuckle and start eating it? That guy was great. That's a good move because it doesn't hurt anyone, but it demonstrates that you're crazy.
Randy Macho Man Savage, born Columbus, Ohio, 1952.
He's from your homeland, Kevin.
Oh, that's right.
Ohio.
Him and Johnny Paycheck.
Just the only two people from Ohio.
It's true. Died May 20th, 2011 in Seminole, Florida, age 58. Cause of death, heart attack brought on by, I don't know. He's fucking. That's probably what that means.
If masturbating causes heart attacks, and
maybe he was vigorously masturbating. I think that's a good point.
That's
maybe all the drugs he was taking, all the steroids made it more difficult, and so he was masturbating extra vigorously.
Sometimes I think that of all the drugs that I've done, I thought, like, why, what if I just did steroids for 2 months? How swole would I get?
I think you would reap the rewards for that for years. I think that's something you should do.
Do you have to inject yourself to do steroids, or can you eat them?
I think you can do pills. Like you get a cycle of steroids to get over certain illnesses.
There's creams, there's injections, there's pills. There's, steroids come in many shapes and sizes.
What else is there, Kevin?
Suppositories.
Are there eardrops? Can you get steroids in eardrop form?
Could I do steroids for 2 months?
Uh-huh.
How big will I get? Mark, you're a doctor. You're the closest one to a doctor.
That is true.
You'll have to buy all new clothing because you'll just rip through all your shirts.
Wow, yeah.
Well, I've been wanting to do that anyway. I hate my clothes. I hate it.
So would you exercise while you were taking the steroids, or would you eat differently?
I just let the steroids do that for me.
Just the steroids.
And I get real big and bulky, and I'd make a shirt that says "Bulky Bartocamus."
The funniest thing that has been said or ever will be said on the international news service.
Yeah. It's all downhill from here, kids.
It would be great if you were like an Estonian or like Eastern Bloc weightlifter, for you to have a T-shirt that says "Bulky Bartocamus." I'm willing to, if there's a weightlifter, a bodybuilder that is from the Eastern Bloc that's willing to change their name to that, I am willing to put up a sizable chunk of my income to be their patron.
Have we had anyone from the former Soviet Union listen to the show?
We've had listeners in Russia before. I don't know about any other country.
Seems dubious.
But I do know that they smuggle in cassettes and along with blue jeans. They call it the Yankee Blue Jean Truth Podcast.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that we've been weaponized for the Cold War. That's good.
Man, I'm bad with words today. I sound as liquored up as Brian.
I don't think I sound liquored up at all, sir.
You don't sound liquored up. I'm just goofing.
How dare you? Well, now I'm not going to say anything. I'm just
good.
It'll
be a better podcast.
I'll show you. Fuck you, Kevin. I'll show you.
Red letter, yellow leather. Red letter, yellow leather. Red letter, yellow leather. Okay, I'm good.
What did you just do? What was that?
That was a vocal. That was a diction warm up.
Is that what that's called? A diction warm up?
Yeah. Unique New York. Unique New York. New York's unique. Unique New York. Try it. Let's see how we all do.
Okay, we're doing this all at the same time.
Yes, all at the same time.
Well, which one are you doing?
Unique New York.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Unique New York. Unique New York.
New York's unique.
You got to switch it.
New York.
I did a great job. I don't know how you guys did it.
Should we go for expedience and try to jump into some news stories?
What about 20-minute discussion of Mickey and Andy Rooney's?
Let's save that for later. Let's see if we can't get to that. I think there'll be an opportunity to talk about the most crucial part of every episode, which is Mike surmising what Andy Rooney might have to say about a given topic. That's valuable material.
He had a show called 70 Minutes to try and build off the name, but didn't do well. It was 10 minutes too long, people found.
You could flip over right after Andy Rooney and probably hear what Mickey Rooney had to say. That was
the plan, but it was too much.
Too much.
The world wasn't ready for that much news back then. All right, let's do some news.
Yeah.
Welcome to the International News Service. We're your hosts. I'm Kevin Harrison, along with...
I am Brian Camp.
I'm Mike Wiebe, and down with us until he's a ride or die MFer, it's Mark Ryan.
Howdy, fellas.
Oh.
Howdy indeed.
Howdy.
We've got 4 very exciting stories this week. unless Mark cuts one or more of them, which is also possible.
You should just start announcing we have 5, so the presumption can be that Mark has removed one of them every single time.
Yeah, and that'll make
just always make me look like an asshole.
No, you're not an asshole. That just means it's curated. That means that we have only delivered the best of what we've done.
This is newsworthy, bad newsworthy. Marky Post died.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yep. She was on The Fall Guy.
Yeah.
Then on Night Court.
Yep.
Then she was in the beginning of Something About Mary.
Well, I also remember that she was in the Lifetime movie Chasing the Dragon, where she becomes addicted to heroin.
Like smoking it or shooting it?
Yeah. I do not know if she had a heroin problem in real life.
Did she ever hook up with Dan Fielding?
No, but he sure tried. Oh boy, that guy was horny.
He was.
What a cad. He would be in prison now.
Oh, he would. He would.
Anyway, back to those news stories that we haven't gotten to at all yet.
Yeah.
So our first story comes to us from WBAL, Channel 11 in Baltimore. I could have chosen this from a few places, but I chose this specifically because it had the best headline. The headline was, "Officials warn of acid shooting land lobsters roaming a national park in Texas."
Acid shooting land lobsters.
Yes, that's right.
This is a Baltimore station? Baltimore news source?
WBAL, Channel 11 in Baltimore.
So we're going to Baltimore for a news story about a national park in Texas.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, what's that stand for? Bullshit asshole land? This story's full of shit. This story seems a little far-fetched, is what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
It's just already, with the headline already, I am dubious about the liberal media. Well, what's the deal with this pack of lies that the Baltimore Sun is trying to sell us?
Right. They're going to demean a national park in Texas.
This is a real look down on the South.
Yep.
They have funny accents. They can't be intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? This podcast is based out of Texas, and we are actually super, super duper fucking super tight smart.
Extra smart.
Yep.
Super tight smart.
Super tight, extra smart.
Yep.
We're not from bullshit asshole land.
Yeah, we're not from bullshit asshole land.
This summer, officials at Big Bend National Park in southwest Texas have issued an unusual warning about land lobsters. An unseasonably large amount of summer rain has brought these creatures, quote, out of their burrows in search of food and love. These 3-inch creatures have bodies similar to scorpions, heavy mouth pinchers, and long, whip-like tails that can shoot a spray that is 85% acetic acid. They're nocturnal and come out at night to hunt millipedes, scorpions, crickets, and other invertebrate. These land lobsters are also called whip scorpions and vinegaroons.
What was that?
I think anything with runes,
it's funny.
with a ROONS, is funny. Pantaloons, macaroons.
Macaroons, good.
And they're called that because the acetic acid in their spray is the main chemical in vinegar. So if they spray you, it's like getting a face full of vinegar.
You keep saying land lobster. Is there?
Yeah. Is that just a colloquialism? Is that what some dumb bullshit assholes would make up to call a bug? Because they've never seen a bug before?
I literally just read what else they were called.
I know, so I'm saying like that, but it's the fucking bullshit asshole land. People there want to like, well, we don't have bugs here. We just,
But yeah, they're also called whip scorpions or vinegaroons.
I think the question is, does anyone actually call them land lobsters other than this?
The Baltimore scum.
They were called that on the announcement at some point, on the announcement from Big Ben.
But isn't a defining characteristic of a lobster is that they live in the water?
Yeah.
Isn't that part of being a lobster? Yeah, you don't get to be a lobster if you live on land.
Yeah. You don't get to be a lobster if I can't boil you and eat you at a fancy dinner that's for some reason fancy, but also the grossest dinner that you've ever had before.
What's that, lobster?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that good. Sea
What a
bugs.
disgusting act it is to have to eat lobster. And that's not a non-meat thing. It is just a disgusting, horrific experience to have to do that.
It's gross. Have you ever had a lobster roll?
No.
They're gross too. Don't eat one. I don't like them.
All right. That's all it took. I mean, I didn't even.
Yeah.
It might be great, but it just took you casually saying, "Don't eat it." I'm serious. I don't like. Ugh. They're just like.
It's gross. It's gross. Just sea bugs. I'd eat a land bug. I think I would probably eat a cicada before I ate a lobster these days.
In the U.S., they are primarily found in the West Texas desert, and they are, quote, relatively benign unless you annoy them.
Count me out then.
They are not fans of what we do then.
Yeah, we probably better not mention what podcasts we do if we're ever there.
They're only found in Texas?
No, they're found multiple places across the U.S., but they're most commonly found in Texas. But they're also found in other countries. I think it's more of sort of equatorial regions is where they're found. I know there's an outbreak when I was...
Can you eat them?
I mean, they're probably real vinegary, I'm guessing.
Yeah, put them on some salt and chips.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear another story.
Okay, our next story comes to us from Fox Business. What?
Fox Business? Being sneaky?
Yeah, it's about how to sneak in and get yourself a rooster. Go to steal the eggs.
How to trick those dogs. Fox Business.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good story about being clever in the woods.
Is this about a song? Is this discussing the lyrics of a song written by ZZ Top? She got fox business. She's a foxy fox. She's got to go to business. Fox.
Didn't one of those guys die?
Yeah, recently.
Yeah, Dusty Hill died.
Oh, that's a bummer, right?
Yeah, they're a great band.
Lent is a Christian tradition that begins with Ash Wednesday and ends approximately 6 weeks later. Many Christians observe Lent by fasting in order to replicate Jesus' 40-day journey into the desert. And I should probably explain, right before we recorded, I looked up what fasting meant because 40 days of fasting seems like a long amount of time.
Sure does.
And apparently, it usually just means you don't eat meat or you don't eat meat a couple days a week. But fish sometimes is okay. It depends on the culture. But most people aren't completely fasting for 40 days.
I mean, a lot of people just pick a thing and they don't do that thing, like a thing they normally do. Like I'm not gonna drink beer or something like that. It's not, a lot of times it's not a food. Or sometimes it's even like I'm not gonna smoke or I'm not gonna cheat on my wife or whatever.
Right.
So I explained all that to give context for a woman in Russia who is now suing McDonald's because she claims a mouth-watering cheeseburger ad made her break her fast during Lent. She said, quote, "When I saw an advertising banner, I could not help myself." The woman claims she had successfully fasted for Lent for the past 16 years and was a month into this one before she, quote, visited McDonald's and bought a cheeseburger.
Well, it's not like McDonald's is going to keep her from going to hell, right? I mean, what are you going to get?
I don't know the theological laws on this at all. This is one of the few things about religion that I don't know about.
Well, as a celestial lawyer, that's probably hard for you to admit.
Yeah, I mean, the laws, I don't know. I know celestial law in America, and honestly, you'd probably be okay if you ask for Jesus' forgiveness, and he will get that request to God, and it will be returned to you within 3 to 5 business days. But in Russia, I don't know.
So now she is suing McDonald's for breaching consumer protection law and for the moral damage this has caused her.
Good for her.
The incident occurred in April 2019. It's unclear why the woman waited this long to sue, but no preliminary court hearing has been set yet. She claims her damages are 1,000 rubles or $14.
No.
Oh,
Well, that makes her seem reasonable somehow.
yeah. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think McDonald's will probably, honestly, if McDonald's is smart, they'll go ahead and pay her off and go like, yes, it's true. Our cheeseburgers look that good. And just make her their whole advertising campaign is about how their stuff is so good that, and if I don't know, maybe people will start abusing that or whatever, but maybe they just pay her off and then go, anybody else, you can go ahead and take us to court. You're not going to win because she can't win, right? If she were to really take this to court.
No.
I don't see how she would, but I don't know Russian law. I'm not a Russian attorney.
Well, I do. And I do know not Russian celestial law, but Russian regular ass law. Mm-hmm. And she has
no case. You can say RA if you...
RA law, Russian RA law, and she has no case.
No case. Well, yeah, their food is so good that people would be willing to spend an eternity burning in hellfire to experience the delectable taste of a quarter pounder.
There's nothing in the Bible that requires you to sacrifice anything for Lent. It's more of a tradition.
Yeah,
it's like wearing the jersey of the team you're going to go watch at a ball game. You're not really on the team.
You're not really on the team, but you are, co-opting their identities. I'm anxious to see her OnlyFans. I'll just say that.
Our next story comes to us from Science Daily. The journal iScience recently published a paper confronting a problem that has been plaguing the scientific community, namely that bottles of sperm often break in transit.
Mine do. That's something I deal with a lot.
Now, a Japanese team, one that had been involved in sending sperm samples into space, has invented a new solution by sending sperm on a postcard. The team freeze-dries sperm, then wraps it in weighing paper. Weighing paper is a smooth, moisture-resistant paper that prevents contamination from anything that might leak through the paper. And then they attach the weighing paper onto a postcard. The scientists have attached these postcards into a single book that is kept at freezing temperatures until the postcards are ready to be mailed out. They call this book the Sperm Book.
Why don't they call it a jack-off magazine?
One scientist then mailed mouse sperm to a colleague on a Happy New Year card, and the results were successful.
Isn't that what Clarence Thomas got in trouble for?
No, it was like he put on a Coke can or a Pepsi can, right?
Yeah, he put a pubic hair on there.
According to Anita Hill, was that the
according
young
to
woman
Anita
who
Hill?
claimed it?
Yeah.
Could have happened, right?
What a weird thing to do.
The team concluded, quote, "The postcard strategy was easier and cheaper compared to any other method. We think the sperm never expected that the day would come when they would be in the mailbox."
Sperm doesn't expect anything except to be in my socks.
Right. There's a lot of partially impregnated lint living inside their socks.
Yeah, you'd think that I would at least have some little ankle socks by now.
Right.
Well, I mean, I guess that's fine. I mean, get that growth juice wherever it needs to get done. I don't know, why are they shipping where are they trying to get this sperm to? And what kind of sperm is it? Is it all mouse sperm?
It said mammal sperm. So, I have a selection.
Mice are mammals.
They're rodents.
They are.
Most of the examples they used were mouse sperm.
So does it discuss what the law is on shipping biological material in the mail? I think that's something that you can't do. It seems like you get in trouble for that. Like, I guess I'm sure they have rules, but let's say I did put a vinegaroon in maybe one of those, just like a manila envelope.
Are you talking about a land lobster?
Yeah, land lobsters. Yeah. Vinegaroons. Do they have any kind of device that would detect a living land lobster? Or
it looks like you can do it. You would have to declare it. It's priority mail, and there's an extra transportation fee for lives.
See, I think you're missing my question. My question is,
okay,
if I just put a vinegaroon in an envelope in the mail,
well, you're gonna get sprayed.
No, you get sprayed because it's going to be so mad when you open it.
It's going to be mad when you put it in the envelope. It's going to spray
No,
you then.
I'll do it during the day when it's asleep. I'll do it during the, and I'll put on the outside. I'll write only open at night. That way, I know you're going to open when it's awake and scurrying around looking for scorpions and millipedes and whatever other invertebrates it eats.
What other fucking names are we going to call this bug? Is land lobsters, liquid scorpions?
Liquid scorpion.
What do you call them? Just fucking like the baby antelope.
Are there any high schools that have a vinegaroon as their mascot?
Ooh, that would be a good mascot.
That would be. You're right, Mike. Vinegaroon is fun to say. I've said it a bunch.
The Waxahachie vinegaroons.
Yeah.
Well, our last story comes to us from NBC Sports.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite sports channel.
Sports.
What's your favorite sport again?
Vinegaroon racing.
Yeah.
There used to be this crazy I'm sure that some of it's still on YouTube, but it was this crazy Japanese bug fighting, and they would seriously just like put two bugs in a cage together, and there was like lower third graphics about which bug was with. It was all in kanji, so I couldn't read it, but like and it was seriously fucked up. They just let these two bugs, like one would kill the other. I mean, I guess some of them maybe killed each other and they both died, but like it was just pretty like I don't think they would allow that over here.
No,
You guys may not know this, but vinegaroons live mostly in the deserts of West Texas, but all over the world otherwise.
Mm-hmm. They love the Big Bend.
They love the Big Bend area. And here's a tip for our non-Texas listeners. Big Bend's wonderful. Camp in the basin if you go, but also don't be afraid to check out Big Bend State Park right next door. It's got a lot to offer.
They have a nice gift shop there?
I'm sure they do. It's huge. There's more. You can do more stuff in the state park, I think, and it's easier to camp.
Problem is, stacks of vinegaroons.
Just stacks of them.
Stacks of vinegaroons. Call back, baby. Call back, baby.
That's good.
Recently, the website theathletic.com published a countdown of the top 100 players in NFL history, and it placed former running back O.J. Simpson at number 41.
Can I guess who was number one? The Fridge. The Fridge was number one. Right? Am I right?
He's still doing that Super Bowl shuffle.
He didn't come to cause trouble. Came to do the Super Bowl shuffle. And name me another football player that was also a G.I. Joe. And name me another football player that was on an episode of the A-Team.
Was he on the A-Team?
He's got the triple
One
crown.
episode he was. He was the Fridge. He did all the shows.
Yeah, he was pretty big, wasn't he?
Yeah. That's why they called him the Fridge.
In more ways than one. That's right, Mike.
That's why they called him the Fridge.
He's dead, right?
He's alive.
Hell yeah.
He played like 11 seasons.
Are you allowed to gamble on when people die? Are gonna die?
Yeah, people do all the time. There's a lot of celebrity death pools.
Really?
Yeah.
So, as you know, O.J. Simpson was acquitted in 1995 of the Los Angeles killing of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman.
Yep, I remember that. I made out with the girl that night.
I remember I was at Jim's Diner, I think, while that was going on. I saw that, eating some home fries.
Yep.
Some overrated home fries.
Yeah, overrated place, that Jim's Diner.
Yeah, a little overrated.
So, a later civil trial found Simpson responsible for the murders and awarded the victims' families over $33 million in damages.
Exclusive news on the International News Service.
That's right. Why are we covering this? This is
Well, you'll see. We're about to. We're getting there.
okay.
Simpson moved to Miami in 2000 to escape paying those damages. You'd think that's why he hasn't been back to L.A., but according to Simpson, you'd be wrong. While being interviewed for the article, Simpson told the interviewer he couldn't go to L.A. anymore because, quote, I might be sitting next to whoever did it. I really don't know who did this.
That ballsy son of a bitch.
Wow. God, what a fucking... Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That motherfucker is flying about a foot away from the sun, and he just maintains... He's been maintaining that altitude for years. It is insane.
Who would have thought Nordberg from...
Naked Gun.
Yeah.
We know he was originally supposed to be the Terminator. He auditioned for the Terminator and agreed to do it. And James Cameron said, no, he's too nice. Nobody would ever believe he was a killer.
Well, he's not wrong. I mean, a lot of people don't.
Simpson added, quote, I figured eventually someone would confess to something, you know?
He just doesn't give a fuck. Oh my God.
Man.
This is also, like, I just want to reemphasize, this was all in an interview for just, hey, you were picked as a great football player. Why don't you talk about that? Finally, when asked how the accusations of murder have impacted his life, Simpson said, quote, how many Americans, even today, wouldn't like to live my life? I don't work. I play golf 4 or 5 days a week. I go out to dinner a couple of nights a week with friends. People want to buy me drinks. I'm always taking pictures with people. Ladies, hug me.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure, especially in Miami. Right. But I guess anywhere. But there's got to be at least once in a while somebody goes, "You suck, Juice. You killed her," or whatever. But I guess he's like just so rich that he's like, "Yeah, I can put up with that."
Is he rich?
Yeah, I thought he blew all his money on legal fees.
Yeah, but I don't think he's like living in a 2-bedroom apartment or anything.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
You're
I bet
right.
he's doing better than any of us.
According to the internet, which is never wrong, he's worth $3 million.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
more than we. That's more. That's a little bit more than I make. So yeah,
It's all Avis money, right?
just residuals from Naked Gun.
Like he wrote that book, right? That
If I did it,
I'm sure that those royalties were.
I don't think that was ever published.
I remember seeing the cover for it.
Yeah, no, I think it was supposed to come out. But
I also wonder if he doesn't have like a deal in place where he has written a confession that can't be published until he dies, but he got paid up front for it, right? Like that's what I would do if I was.
yeah.
So apparently, yeah, the Ronald Goldman family got the rights to the book and published it under the title Confessions of the Killer in 2007.
What was going on with old Ron Goldman's mustache?
Yeah, the mustache guy.
Yeah.
Like that was a bold mustache to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Even more so then, really, because at least like there was some level of you could like if a guy was doing it now, you go like, I don't know, he's like really into he's hanging out with his hipster son. He's really getting into being a barista in LA. But back then it was like, what? Does he just like fucking? Did he like the movie Tombstone or something?
When did that come out? Did that come out before OJ?
Oh, 1993.
There you go. The true inspiration for the O.J. Simpson murders, the movie Tombstone. You heard it here first on the International News Service.
It was almost Jello Biafra.
Yeah, it is a little close to that. Yeah, I don't know. What else is? I mean, OJ's such a weird thing. There's like not much else to say about him. You know, he just goes to show that if you are famous and rich enough, you can kind of do whatever you want.
I thought we knew that before this.
Well, I mean, we're covering. I mean, that's what I said. That's why I opened up with. There's not much else to say about O.J. Simpson other than like, God damn the balls on him. He's just like on Twitter too, which is great. He'll just occasionally just like pop up there and go like, you know what I like? Waffles. And you know, it gets a bunch of likes and a handful of retweets, and then somebody will just like write, "You murdered your wife." What a weird fucking existence. I mean, there is something to be said about not letting the haters with a Z get you down, you know? And
right.
Like there's also like the idea too that he like went into a fugue state because of all the CT damage that he had, and you know he can't he doesn't actually remember doing any of that. So
your mind can do a lot of things to protect itself.
Yeah,
I think that he probably does. He probably is convinced that he didn't do it, but
I guess.
You mean like telekinesis?
No, like Firestarter. Is that what you're talking about?
That's pyrokinesis, Brian. That's pyrokinesis.
No, I think it's the same thing.
Telekinesis is moving things. Pyro is making fire.
So
Yeah.
if I use a match and I move the match to the striker plate and I light a match that way with telekinesis, Does
No,
that
because
turn it
you
into something different?
were manipulating those. If you can spontaneously create fire,
Well, sure, that's a different
if you
thing.
can look at a match and go and think light, and it just bursts into flame,
If
that's pyrokinesis.
if you can manipulate the fire alone, you can manipulate the flame. You're pyrokinetic.
I'm the only one here who studied quantum magic, and I think that you guys need to back off right now. I know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, when you're talking about moving stuff with your mind, you're also bleeding into sound bathing a little bit, and which is my area of expertise.
This is why there's always been a tension and a long-standing feud between the sound bathers and the quantum magicians for at least half a century now. It's a problem.
I don't know that either of those things have existed for half a century.
Well, not in the open like this. Not where we just let normals talk about it. But
yeah, I mean, especially if you're talking about quantum magic, then they've existed for millennia.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Then they've never not existed.
They've existed for always.
Well, we sure fucking did it tonight.
Yeah, we did something.
Hey, so Mike, this episode's coming out on August 25th. Do you have anything coming up?
No, I don't know what's going to happen in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe there'll be shows that the Draculas are playing in mid-September with the Toadies in Texas, and maybe the Toadies and the Riverboat Gamblers will be playing shows in Las Vegas at the Punk Rock Bowling. If all goes well, that will be happening. Or we might be locked down and just be on the internet. Either way, the day after this motherfucker comes out, it's old M-Dub's birthday. He's turning 32 years old. And his skin is taut everywhere. I plan on drinking a whole bunch and not having a hangover the next day.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be glorious.
Do you think you can drink some kind of fermented vinegaroon poison?
Ooh.
I mean, isn't that what kombucha tastes like anyway?
I don't know. Just something to think about.
I'm too masculine to drink kombucha.
That's the first thing I think of when
you think of me?
Yeah, that's a man who doesn't drink
kombucha. I love the right-wing thing of being mad at people that drink lattes and thinking that they're weak.
Is that
it? Latte liberal.
Well, we need to, you know what? I think this is a good time to set a 1-year goal for us that we are going to harvest at least 6 ounces of vinegaroon venom.
Vinegaroon juice?
Yeah. And we are going to consume it.
You go first.
No, we'll all do it together.
It'd be cool it'd be cool is to make a little paper mache volcano and put a bunch of baking soda and vinegaroons in there. And it would just be like fucking vinegaroons shooting up everywhere.
God,
I think that's traumatic for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm becoming more and more a fan of the vinegaroon as the night goes on.
Yeah, I am too.
There is something about it.
When you guys are in town, let's all get vinegaroon tattoos.
I think that's a great idea. Just so we can constantly correct people when they say, "Is that a scorpion?" You can say, "No, motherfucker, that's a vinegaroon."
It's a vinegaroon.
Thank you for listening to the International News Service.
Thank you.
Check us out on social media at International News Pod. Check out our merch on Redbubble. Check out our Patreon, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the International News Service. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. INS, the news you need.